Welcome everyone to the June 3rd Water and Sewer meeting. Does someone want to make a motion to accept the minutes?
Accept the minutes.
Okay, so moved. Okay. Next on the agenda, Marion Fathers, and you just happen to be on the first on the agenda, so come on aboard.
Okay, welcome, Brother Mark Fanders, as we met before. And
Right.
a couple months ago, we just started that we wanted to move forward. And so the team's been working hard, looking at different ways to do it. You know, we don't want to just make a decision to do one way. So we tried different ways, different locations for the pump house and the pressures, and everything's come back down to the pump house being located at the same locale as the one that's existing, and then tapping off of the city system, as we discussed. So we're down to two options we're looking at right now. One is we can, because the current pump is vertical and we need a horizontal pump, the pump room needs to be like 2 or 3 feet bigger on both sides. So one option is to expand that pump house, but that puts the whole system down for a couple of months or a month or so. The other option is just to build another pump house like next to it within, 10 feet of the thing. And build the whole thing, get everything up and going. And then the moment we're ready to switch over, we connect the pipe and it goes. Marion's would prefer the second one because we don't want to be without the system. And so that's kind of where we're leaning to. And if it's all right with you guys,
Makes sense to me.
that would be the right way to go, I think, all the way around.
Yeah, and I think it's good for the fire department to be able to have that system in place as long as possible before the switchover.
Oh, yeah.
Try to minimize the shutdown
Yeah.
where you switch over from one pump.
You agree, Vinny?
Yes,
Yeah.
and I actually asked some questions back and forth because it'd be switching to nearly infinite volume but lower pressure, and they were going to install that booster pump, boost the pressure. The pump that they're installing is a 1,500 gallon per minute pump that will handle and give the exact same pressures that were used for the hydraulic calculations for the new monastery building. So they did, however, suggest once this is all up and running, that they reevaluate the hydraulic calculations one more time and verify, but everything preliminary shows that there's going to be no change in the current existing sprinkler system, and I believe it's the print house building, right? Is that the only
Gift shop.
one? Gift shop is the only one that has it.
Yeah.
So it's not going to affect that one, and it's not going to affect the new building that's going to be coming online sometime in the next 6 to 8 months.
That's correct.
So there's going to be.
We try to match the exact same characteristics of the fire pump that's there now, the vertical turbine, with the same characteristics as the horizontal split case centrifugal fire pump, which is what is being proposed here in the new building.
So in addition to the however many fire hydrants there are on the system, there's going to be internal buildings that are sprinklered with the new annex and that, and then the print house is already on it.
The gift shop, sorry.
Okay.
Gift shop.
So that's already on?
That's already online
Okay.
currently. So when the system did go down, that was the one building that fell off of fire protection, because at that point, the new monastery building hadn't even tested the siding line yet.
Yeah.
That was done in early spring after the pump was installed.
To my knowledge, the only
Yeah,
We did the
when they
testing.
went to go build the system,
There was nothing there.
there was.
Which was the
pressure.
problem we had with the bog, is because we didn't know when that pump failed, because we didn't have continuous water from it. So that's that test is what caused all of this to happen.
Because it's an on-demand system, so until it drops a certain PSI, the pump doesn't even kick on.
Yeah, the only sprinkler systems that I'm aware of that are currently off that system now are the gift shop and the adjoining house next to it.
Yeah.
And the new monastery, which will be coming online, as you said, in 6 to 8 months. And those are the only sprinkler systems that this will serve. So basically the pump's a 1,500 gallon minute pump. The highest demand on that sprinkler system, according to the plans I looked at from Rand Engineering, who's doing the engineering part of the new monastery, is about 800, which includes hosting.
Yeah.
So we're quite a bit under the curve
Yeah.
in terms of rated capacity and rated pressure for the new pump. So there's plenty of water there to do what you need to do if you had to blow some hydrants. And there's more than enough water there for sprinkler systems, pending a final review from RAN on the hydraulic calculations, which I think they've asked for anyway. They want to recheck it, so.
Yeah, because I think once they figured out, once the pump was replaced, they were gonna have to do it anyway, because you can't find an exact match for what was there regardless.
Yeah, and I think a flow test was done there, but it was done a long time ago and we're not sure, the reliability of it. Quite frankly, we've got statistics now and characteristics that they can go right back to the pump discharge,
Yeah.
which we would recommend they would do to verify their calculations.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So the only thing that like just jumps out at me being the distribution operator, water guy, is that there's, the two buildings have good labeling in them. So because obviously your guys are already on our domestic water. You've got the pump station on Vine Street that fills the tank out back. You got the pump system in the big pit. And you got drinking water, domestic water to everybody. So we are responsible for the drinking water to every last free flowing tap by DEP regulation. So bringing in the drinking water, getting the system all flushed out, which we talked about. That's the other thing we have to consider when you do swap systems over. Right after that happens, the system's got to get flushed and then bacteria tested.
Mhm.
Just so we know. I mean, the backflow preventer is obviously going to help, but
Yeah, we're gonna have.
that's just my main
We're
concern
gonna
is,
have a double check valve assembly.
yeah,
Right
after the pump.
Yeah,
Right,
because
yeah.
it'll, as we talked.
Save
about,
that pressure.
It won't
Yeah.
feel too much pressure
Yeah.
from the suction side, so. It'll be testable and it'll be tested on an annual basis in accordance with DEP regulations 22,
So the two systems in there now, not, because it's not on domestic water,
There's no backflow.
there's no backflow on it.
Because it's not connected
Right.
in any way to the municipal system, so we'll provide that in the.
So that one will cover them all?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So I would, we do have since 2010, we have a 1-year or 100-year lease for $1 to have the water tank on the Marion's property. That was a very generous deal that the town got. We do charge per hydrant on town water, $250 a year per hydrant. Which I wouldn't think, I don't know, I don't think that'll probably happen, but that's one thing that we do, but I don't, being such a generous,
Yeah, I think
neighbor, well, we can
we
probably
maybe
make that not happen.
Yeah,
So,
because those will be on the municipal system.
They will.
henceforth.
right, yeah,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
So,
But we'll be responsible for those hydrants, right?
yeah, no, annual flushing, we flush the fire hydrants, all of them in town every spring, and I don't know what the maintenance has been on the hydrant
Also,
annual, so I'll just need to be
yes.
let know when that's gonna happen, that's all. Yep. So,
have we decided, remember last time we were talking about when they're gonna tap into our line and where they're gonna tap into?
well, there's already a tap up there,
So
so we
is that
left during the water
gonna-
project, which I'll locate, and then we've just got I called Weston and Sampson trying to get a digitized set of plans. And I don't have, I know there's a 12x8 tap and
Tap and sleep.
anchor tee up there. But I don't know how much pipe they put on. The plan shows almost 100 feet, but I don't think they put all that
We may
maybe.
not need all that.
Usually two
We
lengths.
would like to locate the tapping sleeving gate, the valve, the actual gate valve on there. We may have to come back a little bit toward that and hopefully
Yeah.
that's still in the driveway.
Yeah.
And then increase the pipe from that point on.
Yeah.
Because we have done a quick calculation and based on the elevation of the existing pump house and the proposed new, which is adjacent to it, that gives us enough pressure to be able to provide
Yep.
for the fire pump suction pressure positive side. So-
Yeah. Yeah, so,
So we'll use that tap, which you had the foresight of, or whoever did, had the foresight of knowing that they would.
it was a request.
Okay,
And we, obviously that was something they wanted for future, so we put it in and
and we are at
it's
the
there,
future.
yeah,
We're at the future.
yeah.
Okay,
So we have quite a long lead time for some of the equipment. Like once the fire pump is acceptable and all that, we have like 10 to 12 weeks, I think Brad said.
It was 12 weeks.
So we're kind of anxious to get an approval, at least concept and principle kind of approval, so we can release things like that and try to expedite, because we have a temporary fire pump in there now, obviously exposed to the weather. When things get toward cool weather, we're gonna have an issue. So we really want to try to flip things around rather quickly here. But obviously, we need your blessing to be able to move forward in a fashionable way.
The only thing that we have to, I would say that we have to do is we have to let Mike Canales know. And I would say they might have to bounce it off town council in case there's any kind of agreement. The only thing that concerns me is if there's some huge fire and hopefully we never ever have to see that. I mean, it could happen in and it could happen in our water system too.
Right.
The water tanks get to a certain point and we have to keep public health and that's my big thing. I mean, we got 1 million gallons of water laying around, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, plus you got what, 147 million somewhere else? 14,
Yeah.
up on the
The reservoir.
reservoir actually feeds down to your
Yeah.
filtration system, does it not?
Yeah, yeah.
And you pump out to the distribution.
Once it's filtered, yeah, and chlorine contact times and all that, yeah. So
So,
we'll just have to run that by town council and then we've talked about the peer review thing too. So,
just from our standpoint, the only time we're gonna be using water is, first of all, if there's a fire event.
Yeah.
And once a year when they do the annual pump testing, we have to test it at 150% of the rated flow, which is 1,500 or 2,250 for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, just to make sure everything is working properly, but that's pretty much it. We're not gonna be using much water, if any at all, unless you do hydrant, flushing or things like that. That'll be something that you'll probably, have to know about.
so you gotta do the forward flow test at 2,250?
We have to do flow test at 2,250 of the pump.
Right.
The pump certifies at 2,250.
Yeah.
It's a 1,500. It's certified at 2,250. A lot of times, we're not required to get to 2,250. If you can't, you can't.
Yeah.
As long as you get to 1,500, everybody seems to be pretty happy with that. But we try to get whatever the
Sure.
certification is for the benefit of the Marion Fathers. We
Yeah.
want them to have a pump that's fully functional right up to the 150%.
Yeah, and there's fire pumps all over town,
You
so
know, you're not.
one here.
This isn't your first rodeo.
No.
The only additional thing the fire department's looking for is everybody here in this room is in agreement. If there's a fire situation in that area of town, we're allowed to use the hydrants as needed. And if something happens, vice versa. If they do a waiver for the hydrant fees, I'm just looking for language put in there so that if everybody in this room is no longer there, that there's still access to those hydrants in an emergency outside of the property. So if they do the waiver of the fee for the hydrants, just put language in there that the fire department will have 24/7, 365 access to the hydrants as needed.
Makes sense.
Yep. And there's where town council comes in with some kind of just agreement or whatever, just we're not all gonna be here forever, so it's good to have stuff on paper and in a file.
How long do you think this process, where we can get a nod to kind of move forward?
I can talk to Mike tomorrow and then, I can talk to town council as well. And just, I can let the commissioners know as if you start ordering, parts and whatnot, I know you guys would like to have either DPC or somebody just look at the plan, which I can forward the plans.
Yep.
I can forward the plans that we have now.
Yeah.
And that, I know you
Yeah, don't
mentioned,
forward what you have now because we're gonna bring that pump house back to where they.
okay,
So we'll get you something, Scott, whenever we can get there quicker, sooner the better, right?
By the end of this week.
By the end of the week, we'll have a new plan for you based on the
Okay.
conversations
All right.
we're having here tonight.
all right,
Okay.
easy enough.
All right. We'll get it started.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
You guys don't have any questions for fire quarterly, right?
No, we're good. Peter?
Yeah, let's.
All right.
We're good.
Perfect, fine.
Thanks, everyone.
Yep. Take care. Nice to meeting you.
Take care. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Bye.
I think also when you talk to town council and Mike, because I think we're pretty much agreed on the way the hydrant fees.
Sure.
But just letting Mike know that.
Oh, yeah, just gotta be, that's stuff that's gotta be written down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a 2-paragraph. Yeah, something simple, but something that can be filed with the registry of
Right,
deeds.
so that-
Because when we're all gone,
Yeah, stuff like that needs to be around.
Peter, the Mike of the future is gonna, how did this happen?
Yeah,
What the hell did they, what were they thinking?
And why do we have to maintain all the pipes down in the furnace district?
Yeah.
that agreement.
With no benefit to that town.
And exorbitant rates. Wow. Yeah, that was the town furnace district. Okay, town meeting articles. Thanks, Mike, for being there.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. And I think the discussion now is what color Mike's truck is going to be. But he's
Well, your choice was white.
no.
That's the
He's
color of Donnie.
not going to
Donnie
be.
shirt.
It's going to be blue.
Oh, you are the blue.
Tracy.
Dark blue, yeah. Yeah, just kind of like Tracy's old truck there.
Tracy's old truck.
Those are the only two colors. that-
No, they had a gray, it's really bizarre. So the Super Duties, that green is very common. But it's a $700 upcharge, and the guy's like, we can get that truck and then we can paint it for you. I'm like, no, we don't need to paint the truck. I mean, we'll take the paint from the factory. It's fine. So there was like white, gray, blue. I mean, there might've been a red because it's a 150, so it's a half ton. So the colors kind of change with the Super Duties. So anyway,
So this is just a regular truck.
I asked for gray, the guy ordered blue, and so it's fine.
It's gonna be.
It'll be,
So-
it's a very common color for all the trucks.
Is that coming soon?
I haven't heard an ETA yet. I asked, the guy down there at, MHQ McGovern, and he said, once he hears a time frame, he'll let me know.
It's interesting because it's the first, I think it was the first town meeting I ever missed, but I was Zoomed it. I was up in Maine and Zoomed it. And when I finally got the online, it was Cokie Cardello.
Oh, yeah.
Coke was speaking, and then it went from there. It was a interesting meeting.
Yeah,
to say the
yeah.
Oh, about the land acquisition.
That was the big one, the land acquisition. Yeah, that was the big.
Is there anyone, Jennifer, zooming this?
Nope.
When I watched,
But it can be
I
watched
watched,
later.
when I.
But it can be watched later
Yes.
at any time.
Okay, so that's not part of our agenda, so we'll move on.
I'll leave that alone. But anyway, thanks for being there, and it's always nice when everything comes through. Although
And it-
I guess they did think we were gonna get two trucks.
Yeah, Patty did. And the other thing was,
Well, that got cleared up like
yeah.
immediately.
And the other thing is, the lady had a very valid question when I got up and spoke. She's like, why are we cleaning the Marion Father's water tank? And
Because when I saw that, I said, why did they call it?
yeah.
You know,
So the article, I didn't see the way the articles were written, or we could have clarified that, but going in the future, it was a very valid question.
I think so too.
Yeah. So that was good. And the tank cleaning will be scheduled for next month. They're gonna do the intake, like they've been doing. The rubber mat they put down is working very, very well, keeping all the weeds at least 10 feet out away from the whole, intake structure.
That's good.
Yeah, and the loading dock and the stairs, I'll start getting pricing on that. I gotta just rewrite that little, kind of RFP thing just to email people out.
Get that thing
get
done.
three prices for it and then get that thing
Get
going.
that done
Yes.
this summer.
Yes, absolutely.
Good.
Yep, yep.
All right. How about the lake, Mike? Have they done anything more with that?
So they're coming out Monday, and a couple new students are coming out from UMass Amherst, and we're gonna talk about the sampling of all the personal wells, the wells around, there's some in West Stockbridge, there's some here in town, Beechwood, Lennox Mountain area, Deer Hill Road way up on top of Lennox Mountain. I think Sportsman's Club might be on there too, just to try to, just looking at the isotopes in the water in the private
good.
wells.
That's-
Yeah.
That's good.
That's interesting.
So Christine and I will get a date when they want to come out, and we're just gonna have to, my questions are, are softeners gonna matter? I don't know if they are, and if we can just use somebody's outside hose spigot, they just need a tiny little vial of water and that's it.
Mhm.
So I don't think we'll need to gain access, just let people know we're gonna grab a sample some morning, in the next couple of months or whatever. And
Mhm.
And where are you gonna get the sample from?
there's 14 or 16 private wells that they want to sample from.
So you're gonna have to enter them, right? You're gonna have to get.
Well, I don't know if we're gonna have to enter most of, if people don't have an outside hose spigot, we will. Because I don't think it really matters. The isotope's the isotope. Once it's in there, it's there. So
Yeah,
I
you
don't
can use
think
an outside-
all that much changes
Outside
it.
spigot, but
But I think the softeners will they'll totally change the calcium and magnesium makeup of the water, which I think they want to know. So,
Well, then that becomes
yeah.
a lot more
And-
difficult
yeah.
because if
You got to
you
get
have a well, a lot of.
Everybody has softeners.
Yep. And a lot of most times,
no,
most
you
of the
just
times when
replace your
you,
hot water tank.
most of the times when you have a well and you have outside hose spigots, they're piped before the softener.
That's true too.
Yeah, so
That's true.
we'll
Yeah.
have to, and that's a question that most people aren't going to be able to answer. We'll have to just go down and take a sample
Yeah.
right off the bladder tank or something, just,
Hmm.
so. They're going to be out Monday. They're going to do some sampling around the lake and the seeps and, make up the future schedule for the well samples.
Good. Okay. The sewer manhole, I noticed that, there was somebody on Main Street, they were looking at, our sewer manholes the other day. I think Tony was there and Marky was.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So this, and Tony, did, send us a note that, he will not be attending the June meeting. With that said, regarding the manhole project, the structures will be included in the rehab project, so it's ongoing, so that's started, so that's good. So get that done too. I don't know what's happening up at the Beechwood area with that, with the manholes. I think that's on hold for now.
I think it's on hold. We were up there sampling the other day when we did the Stockbridge Bowl cyano samples, and we go into Beechwood for Duck Pond Brook. And they redid all the roads with dense grade.
No kidding.
Yeah, so I don't think,
Everything's covered.
so they're buried even deeper.
Deeper now.
Everything's
Yeah.
covered.
Yeah, so.
All right. So, anything else, Mike?
So I was talking to Christine this afternoon, and we forego the August meeting, I think, right?
August meeting.
So we'll have the July billing going out, and it needs to be approved by you guys, and I don't think they're gonna want to wait 2 more months. So Christine and I were wondering if we wanted to make like the end of July a meeting. So we have time to get the meters read by July. We'll be reading the meters in a couple weeks, 3 weeks. And then get the meters commitment done. And so Erica can do the billing and
So I don't have any objection to having an August meeting if that keeps things simple for
Sure,
billing.
sure.
yeah, I mean, I'm not going anywhere in
If
August.
you want an August meeting, sure, we'll keep an August, we'll keep the
Yeah.
meetings going.
A lot of us are usually on vacation and stuff. We've always,
Yeah,
We work around
we
things.
can,
Traditionally, we have taken August
Yeah.
off, but,
so we'll just keep the meetings
Yep, we'll
scheduled
keep
as.
the meetings scheduled.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
and if that's the only piece of business we have to do, that's
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Okay.
Over and done.
We raised up a couple of the hydrants down on the end of Church Street. If you guys have been by there, you'll see the sidewalk project. Huey started that. So 2 of the hydrants near Charbonneau's old house and then the one on the corner of North Church, we raised those up today, Marky and I. And the project is underway. The cat and dog, I'm not sure if you, you see, I got a little misting nozzle in there now. I think it looks really good. It's not damaging.
Actually, I haven't, I'm looking at Miss and I haven't seen it, but
Yeah.
as long as it's not
Yeah, it
destroying.
actually looks really good. I think it's the best that's ever actually really looked. It's pretty.
You have to fill the pond?
No,
Fountain?
it's actually putting out enough water. It's been fine. Of course, we've gotten a lot of help.
Saturday, we.
Almost 6 inches of rain last month, 5
I
points.
think, our reservoir must be in great shape.
Yeah, it's still overflowing, yeah. 5.71 inches of rain last month, I
Yeah,
think
that
we
was,
measured.
what a, it's craziness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Christine and I are, the lead service line thing that we did last year, it's gonna be a yearly thing where we have to put updates out to the customers that do have all galvanized services and potentially unknown lead service lines. We did replace one of them at Casella's old house last week.
No, I saw where they did.
That one was galvanized all the way from the main into the house, so that was a galvanized requiring replacement came up. And the lady did it. She got the letter and she wanted to have it done and so she
We don't have money, right?
there was
Seven,
20,
eight?
there was 25 customers altogether, or 26. So 22 of them would galvanized from the main, out of 800 or 750 customers, it's not many.
No, that's not many. No.
And there's 4 of them that are kind of, they're unknown. I don't know what's out at the main. There's no records on this service, but I know it's galvanized coming into the house. So it's an unknown, so that they get a letter and the other people get a letter. So we knocked one off the list last week with the new service there, so.
Yeah.
You ever encounter a brass
No,
water line?
no, never, not lead either. Cause they used to run lead all the way into the house. We have the pigtails out on the main, the 2-foot lead pigtail. We've encountered those in the past.
Troy or Albany, I mean, I guess that half the city is lead.
Yeah.
So they have to, I mean, millions of dollars, but they're
Yeah.
replacing it.
There's huge grants for that work because it's huge amount of money to replace all that stuff, especially if you know about them.
Yeah.
We're very lucky. We don't, it's very occasional, like even an old galvanized service that like that off. A lot of times they used it in the 50s with the transite mains. It was very common in the 50s to put a 5/8 tap in the water, the transite pipe, and run a pigtail to galvanized. It was very common.
I know my parents, it was galvanized at one time. It's, you said
Yeah.
it's copper now,
Yeah.
they changed
Yeah.
it, but
So why not mix a little lead with
Sure.
your asbestos?
So the lead, yeah, the asbestos water main and what the thing is like when there's a known lead pigtail, they even want to know if it was a lead pigtail or a lead service line prior to a water line being installed. Cause the galvanized can kind of absorb that lead, I guess, and kind of retain it and it can get into the house. So, yeah.
in a not related thing, the new firehouse, have they talked to you or is it still going in front of the plant?
That's what we've heard.
Well, that's their, but
Fault.
there's a committee that's hasn't met yet. But part of what we voted on at town meeting was to fund a feasibility study. Now, the feasibility study, you have to examine all kinds of things. I mean, you got to do your due diligence here. Some schmo just can't pick it. Well, we're going to put it here. You got to see how it's going to service this town and is it economically feasible too? I mean, you should be studying, well, can we renovate what we have? It's a possibility.
Possibility.
You know, or are there any town lands available that would be in a good position for a new fire station? Or do we have to acquire that from a private landowner? So that's what that's why we voted to do a feasibility study.
Makes sense.
You gotta take it step by step.
Okay.
But no, to answer your question, nobody's,
And then, not my own opinions about putting it next to Tony's place of work.
Or,
well, it's not, I mean,
but we did appropriate money for an ambulance, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So we'll find a place for it. Peter
Someday.
Socha's barn.
The other one the one we got from Lee seems to spend a lot of time in the shop and we've never used it. So,
It looks nice behind there, just sitting.
well, apparently it's gone down to the sign shop to get all the Lee lettering off of it.
Smart.
Well, and they're not. There's a process to getting to the point where we have an ambulance service. There's a couple of things you have to do. You actually have to have your ambulance. You have to have established a viable service before you can get certified. So it's kind of like putting the cart before the horse, when you make this investment and have employees. So the state can look at your agency and say, yes, you qualify, or no, you need to do these steps, right? So this is a process. It's not going to happen overnight. You know?
I totally agree with it. I think it's going to be a long process.
So that's what they're just going to use, this one that we got from Lee, this used ambulance with Vinnie's plan is just to use it to, with no, it's not even going to say ambulance on it. It's just to go to medical calls
Yeah.
and with qualified personnel to render assistance until a service
Good.
can get
Makes
there.
sense. Makes sense.
Until we have our own, until we are totally certified, and then, so it's a process. It's probably gonna take like 3 years. Ish, 2-3 years. And in the meantime, you know, according to the way Mike Canales is looking at it, our reliance on and our payments to others towns, to Lee primarily, becomes diminished as the West Stockbridge payments to our town factor in. So this may work out sort of, kind of,
Mhm.
in the long run. And by that time, you may have, you know, a facility to put all of this stuff in.
We'll get Sam's up there when we get that thing situated.
Well, that's if you're doing your feasibility study,
It's a piece of property.
that's a piece of property that, I think it would, if you put a new facility in the middle of town, which would be fine for Stockbridge, I think you jeopardize the agreement that we have in
With
place.
West Stockbridge.
With West Stockbridge, yeah. Which makes it, the town can still do it, it's just slightly less viable because of the financially.
So how far, like West Stockbridge? Now, there's a distance that you can only have a maximum distance from the fire station to the center of town. Isn't it? So West Stockbridge, if we put it at
Oh, well,
the treatment plant, that's getting close.
Yeah, they figured, at the Four Corners was the ideal location for our town. But then the way West Stockbridge is looking at it is if it goes in that area, then it makes it more attractive to them to be part of the Stockbridge system than it is the Richmond, who they've been paying for years to have an ambulance service.
Now, that property that's past where Westdale Road is, where the garden center, the person on Westdale Road gave that strip of property to the botanical garden. So they own that strip that's down, near Lindy's house and stuff. That'd be a spot for sure, but he gave it to the botanical garden, and they can use it for, obviously they use it for parking. So. Anyway, someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion and adjourn.
So move.